In this video, we're going to go over the guidelines for the Site Excellence Badge, which is the design-related badge as part of SNOW's Distinguished Sites Recognition Program. Any SNOW site is free to participate in this from when the badges open in early October through the last weekday in May. To check out the badges, if you've never done this before, go over to the SNOW Badges tab on the left side of your site's dashboard and just click SNOW Badges. If you've never participated in any of the badges before, what you will see first is this Site Data tab. Just double check all these fields to make sure that they are correct. Do know that any data that is transferred over to documents like certificates, press releases, letters, etc., is going to be copied and pasted from these fields. So ensure that capitalization, spacing, etc., is all correct. Once that looks good, press that Save button. Then you can go to this Badge Progress tab. And now you can see the 6 different badges that comprise the SNOW Distinguished Sites program. Today, we're going to focus on the Site Excellence Badge. There are videos related to the guidelines for the other badges available on our YouTube channel. The Site Excellence Badge is our design badge, primarily tied to what you see on the homepage, although a couple of global things that we are looking for as well. And so a couple of things of note here. This is primarily a checkbox badge. So you want to make sure that your homepage or your site meet the guidelines laid out here. Once you know it does, then you can just check that box and consider it good. So I'm not going to read all of these, but I'm going to hit some of the highlights and hopefully clarify some of these guidelines for you. So first, you want to make sure that your site has an image header. If your site title is just your tagline and it is all in the same font, that is likely a text header. So you want to design a graphic header in a program like Canva or Photoshop and upload that. We have a nice support article that will walk you through how you can update the graphic header. Make sure that your site has little to no trapped or unplanned blank space on the home page. That is often the result of adding a widget into an area, creating some extra space under any columns in the same row. As you can see here, we've got a little bit of blank space caused by this advertisement widget that's been placed in the center column there. So make sure that your sites are nice and square. All of that space is filled and there is no large blocks of blank space on the home page. Make sure that the home page, the widgets have a cohesive design using no more than 3 different widget styles, and those widgets are using consistent formatting. For example, in my story list widgets here that are all next to one another, they are all displaying the same number of stories. They all use that view all button. They all have that white background. So when you're designing like widgets, make sure that all those settings are the same so that they look similar. Make sure that your site has a customized favicon. That's that browser tab icon. You can add that within the design settings to further brand your publication. So make sure that it is not that SNOW icon that you're seeing in this video. Make sure that you don't have too many animating or moving elements on the screen at the same time. The rule of thumb that our reviewers are looking for is if you have a carousel or something, for example, we are looking for nothing that is kind of animating at the same time, all at once on the screen at once. So if you have a lot of moving elements, just recognize that you might not have this one marked off for you by our reviewers. Make sure your color scheme features no more than 3 colors and those colors are complementary, and that your homepage features no more than 3 fonts being used throughout. When you go back into your site designer on the back end of the website here, make sure that none of your elements contain the word legacy. If they do, make sure to replace those with the newer elements. I'll talk about guideline 10 in a little bit. That is the one thing you do have to do some work for. And so I will touch on that in just a moment, but I'll do the other checkbox guidelines first. We're looking for a majority of your images to be original, not Creative Commons or like fair use promotional images, but rather original. Preferably, we would love to see awesome original art and photos taken by staff members. But if barring that, at least photos or artwork that was contributed by sources that you spoke to for those stories. Photos are consistently sized and display correctly, so there's no pixelation, no awkward cropping where somebody's head is cropped out of frame, etc. Photos are original or press release, like those promotional images. Non-original photos are used with permission or covered under fair use and credited appropriately, essentially avoiding copyright concerns there. If you are unfamiliar with copyright law and how it applies to student media websites, I would strongly encourage you to check out the Avoiding Copyright Infringement support article available on SNOW's support site. The majority of the stories on the homepage have photos, so we are looking for that. And at least half of the stories, when we click into your category pages on that navigation menu, also have photos. Again, hoping to get everybody in the habit of adding a featured image of some sort to all of their stories. All photos should be individually captioned and credited, noting the individual photographer, and that does include slideshows. So we'll just click into a handful of stories and make sure that all those photos are appropriately captioned and credited. Categorization of those stories is managed in a way that prevents repetition of stories on the homepage. So if you have a story that appears in the news widget, it's not also appearing further down the screen in the features widget. Our recommendation is categorize your story only in one of those categories that's featured via widget on the homepage. Make sure that the majority of links in your navigation bar are active and linked to current content. To do that, you can just click all the buttons in your navigation menu and make sure everything still looks good. On your staff page, make sure it is for the current school year and has individual staff profiles that link to the work of those staff members, and that all those staff profiles include a photo. If you have any staff members that do not wish to have their photo on their staff profile, upload just some sort of placeholder image, perhaps the publication logo, perhaps a drawing, perhaps a photo of an item that they believe symbolizes their aura or their essence, but just have some sort of graphic in that staff profile. Make sure that your About page is updated with information for the current school year. If you display social media icons in your header or footer, they should link to active social media accounts. So if our reviewers do see those social media icons there, they are going to click on those. And when they do, we'll expect to see a post from at least, the last 3 or 4 weeks at the very latest. There are no obvious spelling or grammatical errors within any teasers, headlines, etc. Publication style should be entirely up style or down style rather than a mix of the two. And content on the homepage should be no more than 3 months old. So make sure if you are doing this at the beginning of the year that you have pushed out your first batch of stories, as if you do it over the summer, that 3-month window has likely lapsed. So those are all the items that you'll just need to acknowledge your site meets and check off. The work that you will need to do to complete this badge is demonstrating that you understand how SNOW's design tools work. And to do that, we are going to ask you to create a design draft and name that draft Site Excellence. On that draft, you are going to open up this URL, design.snowdemo.com. And we're going to ask you to replicate this design. So if you know how to use SNOW's design tools and widgets, you should be able to make a similar looking site using our design tools to assist you on the design demo site that you're going to replicate. We have a style sheet page that gives you the color codes and the fonts that were used, so you can easily grab those there. And then you will not need to use our graphic header or our favicon or our stories. It's still going to be your stories. It's going to be your categories. You can put whatever categories you would like on here. Put your city here for the weather, your poll. It'll be your staff profiles, but the design, that widget style, the widget settings, they should all be set so that it matches what you're seeing here. So you're going to replicate that design. And again, you're going to do that in a design draft that you name Site Excellence, so that our reviewers, when they check out the back end of your site, know exactly which one to check out. And when they open it up, it should match pretty close to what we are seeing here, just with your content and your graphic header. So that is what we're looking for. You're not going to need to push that live. As a matter of fact, after you've earned the badge, if you would like to delete that draft, feel free to do so. So that is the biggest change there to the Site Excellence badge from previous years. Rather than requiring you to redesign the site, which many sites were not planning to do anyway, and didn't really find to be a valuable exercise, we do want to make sure you know how to use these design tools. So we're asking you to replicate the design of our demo site there. If you don't know how to use those design tools, go ahead and go to the Snow Support tab, Instructions and Tutorials, that first link on that Snow Support drop down there. And then you can go to the website help guide, and we have this area called Design. And you can check out all of our support articles and videos that will teach you how to use those tools and replicate that design. So that is the Site Excellence badge and what our reviewers are looking for. Once you submit that, if you don't meet those guidelines, you will receive feedback from our reviewers about what you need to do to bring your site or bring that draft up to what we're looking for, and then you can resubmit. If you earn all 6 badges, you will be what's considered a Snow Distinguished site, and you'll receive several things to recognize that: a letter to your principal, a plaque, a press release, all kinds of cool stuff, just by virtue of earning all 6 of these badges. So thank you for your interest in Snow Distinguished sites. Thank you for being a Snow customer, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video.